Hi everyone. This is Tahir Ekin. I'm the director for Texas State Center for Analytics and Data Science. And today, this is the second basically edition of our Texas State AI Radio office hours. As you may recall, and as the recording is available in our website, the first one was focusing on responsible use of AI by our libraries colleague Alexa, and Divya also provided a introduction of generative AI and some of the fundamentals. And this week we'll be focusing on health, and we are collaborating with Office of Associate Dean of Research from College of Health of Professions, Dr. Arzuare and her team. And along these lines, we will also have two panels in April that will be coming up as part of our collaboration. And healthcare is one of the areas where, as you all know, there have been many data science and AI applications, lots of opportunities. And we have been fortunate to collaborate with a number of you in that domain. And today, Dr. Divya Gangwani, who is also serving as the AI engineer at CADS, is going to talk about Huggingface, a platform for AI data sets and models. And hopefully, in case you haven't been familiar with that, this would give you a chance to get started. And then Dr. Barbara Hewitt will talk about her research combining data science AI as well as her health domain expertise. So without further ado, let me leave the stage to Divya. And this session also is recorded, so you can access this later. Divya, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tahir. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the second session of AI Ready Office Hours, and we are going to focus on Huggingface platform, which is for AI. So, let me share my presentation, and then we'll go ahead. Okay. If anyone who has not been familiar with Huggingface, it's an open source platform which is for AI that offers variety of tools. It includes data sets, models, libraries, and platforms to build, train, and deploy machine learning models. Like its NLP, computer vision, audio, and many other transformer models can be applied in Huggingface, where you don't need a lot of code. There is no code option. You can explore how AI performs. There are a variety of pre-trained models in Huggingface, which we will see in details. It's just like a GitHub. I'm sure if you're familiar of GitHub, is a repository to store data sets, and code. So Huggingface is just GitHub of AI, specifically for artificial intelligence, to host the code and then load the models, use data sets, and provide demos. So why we use Huggingface? It has a lot of pre-trained models, which is over 1.6 million, already stored. You just have to use the platform, and then you can load any kind of code and move on with that. So you don't have to really train the model from scratch as we used to do it earlier. The Huggingface platform provides all the pre-trained models specifically used for different tasks, such as if you want to use text analysis, sentiment analysis, there is each model for each task. It's open source. Anybody can log in. It's free to use, allowing students and everyone to inspect, use, and modify models based on your task or specific use. It is easily accessible, user-friendly Python libraries like transformers. It has community where you can collaborate with other students, researchers, and share data sets and work on research or any project. So here I demonstrate the key components of Hugging Face. There is a hub where you get repositories of thousands of pre-trained models. There is data sets, which has over 370,000 data sets, which can be used for training and testing. And there's Spaces. It's a platform, it's a hosting service where you can use an interactive AI session. I'm going to show you in some time how the Spaces work. And you can see how you can demonstrate the AI platform and host any kind of services or model and so on. There are transformer libraries, which is the main tool for loading on and using the different models in Python. So what you can build, you can do NLP task, which is sentiment analysis, text summarization, translation from one language to another, or computer vision, which is image classification, object detection, image generation, and so on. You can even use it for audio, like speech to text recognition. Let's say you talk and you want a text out of it. It can be used for that as well. It is a multimodal platform where model can understand both the text and audio. So, sorry, images as well. So there are variety of tasks and variety of projects. I would recommend if you want to get your hands on, just use Hugging Face and be familiar with the website, and then you can kind of see how the models work, what else you can do. And it is beginner friendly, even if you have zero knowledge or just getting started with AI, you can even use Hugging Face to kind of get hands on to the project. So why is Hugging Face important? It democratizes the access to large AI models, reduces infrastructure overhead. Like initially, you have to load data set, have a platform to code everything, and then run and train the models on your own. But with Hugging Face, it becomes very easier. There is infrastructure already built, so you don't have to use everything from scratch. It enables reproducible research and provides standardized APIs for transformer models. And for research purposes, if you want to use Hugging Face, you can even fine tune large models. Benchmarking experimentation is also possible. Model sharing with DOS citations is possible with Hugging Face. There is a lot more you can do if you use this platform than you could imagine. So let's say I've demonstrated a small snippet from Python coding where you have to load the pipeline and then load the model. Let's say you want to do sentiment analysis, and then just give an example of a classifier. What you need the model to do. And if you just put a statement, it will print whether the result is a positive sentiment or a negative sentiment, and you can even get a score. So this type of coding can be in few lines. You can do much more than what you could do earlier and run the model, train the model from scratch. Okay, in the live demo, I'm going to share my screen and provide a live demo to show you what Hugging Face looks like, what are the contents in Hugging Face. And I'm going to use Spaces to try a demo app. And I'll show you how we can use a low-code options and everything. To try out Spaces, you have to know a little bit of Python and basic knowledge of AI concepts. Is that all you have to know to try Hugging Face? I'm going to pause my slides and I'm going to show you how Hugging Face looks like. So I'm going to first introduce the website Hugging Face. I've already logged into my account. You can create a new account. And then this is how the screen will show you. There is models, which includes a variety of pre-trained models you can use for a specific task, let's say text generation, image to text, and text to video, and so on. These are just examples. And then you will find variety of models based on each task. Then there are thousands of data sets for each task. You can play around, you can use the data set provided in Huggingface and try to get some hands-on for this. Then the spaces is a demo. It's like you can create your own space and create like a example or a sample app for any kind of task you want to. I'm going to show you how the spaces work in a minute. So this is community where you can use blog articles, social posts, daily papers, and so on. The documents and so on. There are a variety of things you can play around in Hugging Face and see how things go from there. So I have a demo which I've created in Hugging Face. I've created like 3 types of tasks. One is sentiment analysis, text summarization, and question and answering. So before I get into this and show you examples of how this works, I just want to know, you may have used ChatGPT and you may have researched or, uh, you know, chatted with ChatGPT, like, tell me an answer for this, or how to use a specific task, or how to use some kind of object or anything. And ChatGPT will always give you an answer and also give you another question, most probably, to ask details about what exactly you're looking for. So it's just curious to know what goes on behind the scenes. So this Hugging Face will actually tell you what goes behind the scenes and how ChatGPT or any other model gives you answers to your question. So I've created a like no code option in Hugging Face. So just want to show you how this gives an output. Let's say I do sentiment analysis where it kind of shows the sentiments from a text. I enter a text and I click analyze. So this is how the app says, I predicted the statement positive. I absolutely loved the lecture. It was clear and engaging. It is a positive statement and it gives you a score of 99. So this is how you can know if the app is working right and if everything, the demo is working right. So let's say I give another negative statement and let's see how the sentiment analysis model works with that. Okay, so I've written this update broke everything. I can't log in and support won't reply. It's a negative statement and it gives a confidence score of 99. So this confidence score exactly tells you how strong or how confident the model is in prediction. So I've just given you an example of a positive statement, a negative statement. You can even try a neutral statement to see what kind of prediction the model does. And this, I'm going to provide you a link in the presentation. You can just play around, see what goes behind the scenes and see how the model actually works. Let's go to the text summarization. This is used to summarize a big long text. Like you can even use ChatGPT and you say, summarize this text for me. So, and what Hugging Face does is actually it gives you an idea of how ChatGPT or any kind of app gives you the answer. Let's see the text summarization. I have an example where I input the text and then click summarize. Taking some time, but all it does is it just summarizes the text in small few lines, so you can see how easy it is. Yeah, here it is. So it gives you just a short answer of the summarization. Let's see the question and answering. I just give some questions to my app and then I gave a paragraph and then ask a question. What time does the library open on Saturday? Let me ask that. So it says the city library is open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. On Saturdays, it is open from 10 to 4. Yeah, it exactly gives the answer of the question I asked. So what I've used is each type of model for each type of demo. So let's say this is how I've created spaces. So let's say I go to spaces. You have to click on new spaces, and then you write the description of what you want to do, spaces name. There are three types of spaces: Gradio, Docker, and static. Gradio is most common and very easy and simple to use. So you can create a Gradio, use CPU basic or GPU based on what kind of task you want to use. And then you can make it public, private, create your own space. This is the same thing I did. And then once you create spaces, let me show you. Uh, So this is my spaces. I have a sample model, which is another example. You can go ahead and see my files. It is open, how it is and how I've created the spaces. I would recommend do a little hands-on with Huggingface and you will see what all you can get from this platform, which is AI ready and you don't need to really code. And it is beginner friendly, even if you don't know how to code. I think Huggingface will give you a lot of powerful tools. Okay, perfect. So this is the website of Huggingface. You can create your own account, see how it looks like, and then okay. And this shows the demo what I've just presented. This is the link of my demo. You can play around, see the apps. It is public and you can just go to the website and see and play around sentiment analysis, text summarization, question and answering, and see how it works. So this will give you a lot of hands-on with this platform, and you can see how it actually helps and works. So I've created a list of project ideas for students and everyone who want to really know how AI can do and how powerful it is. So you can use tweet sentiment analyzer. It is a very common example which people start with. So it's a public data set. You can get it from the website, and then you can play around and do sentiment analysis of seeing tweets and classify as positive or negative. Then there is AI Story Writer, which uses GPT-2 or Llama to generate or create stories. Then voice to text transcriber, image captioner, and these are similar projects which you can try on. And if you have your own specific project and you want to try how AI can help you with that, I would recommend use Hugging Face and try on your own. So this is what we've seen. Hugging Face is lowering the barrier to AI. It's got a low code option. You really need not know exactly how to train the model or build the model from scratch. I believe the best way to know how AI works is get your hands on to it. So it is free to use for everyone. If there are a group of students who want to build or work on a data set, you can even do a collaboration with this platform. And it is open to all, unlike ChatGPT. Hugging Face lets you see the code, lets you share the code, data, and everything else. So that's it for now. And if you have any questions, we can be available for any more details on Hugging Face. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Divya.
Yeah, so let me. Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Barbara Hewitt. It is good to see all of you. And I today will be talking a little bit about public health research with AI and then a little bit more about just other things that I am looking at with AI in general. So I'm going to get started with my agenda here and hopefully all the slides cover everything that's in that. First thing, why does AI matter for public health? And I'm going to show you an example in a few minutes of why it matters. But I did some work recently with the Hayes County Department of Health Services, and they were talking about how nice it would be to be able to use digital tools to be able to create a dashboard for their front page, or somewhere's in their website, and also to be able to use it to monitor things. What should I be addressing today? And so basically we need to think about it can be used to enhance public health. And there's so many different ways because it provides some very helpful tools to address those issues that we're facing as an individual, as a community, and even at the population health. And things that we need to address right now is access to digital tools itself, especially digital health tools. There are more and more people adopting digital health tools, but right now, one of my studies is looking at the aging population, because you think about most of us have a smartphone, but when I go to my mother's house, she's 91, she'll be unhappy that I said that, but she doesn't have a smartphone. She has to rely on me or my brothers or someone else to help her when she's trying to use anything, digitally, because her smartphone is one of those old flip phones. And I mean, that's what she needs. She would be dangerous with anything more than that. But at the same time, that means that she's not got the access that the rest of us do. And so she's not able to look at her digital health record to see what's going on. I can get results from my test just right to my laptop or to my phone. I can talk with my doctor that way. I can post a message and they reply to me, but she doesn't have that. She has to call their number. And usually she has to go look up their number to be able to call it and things because of the access she has. And so if we can improve that access, we're improving our population or public health. And then we also can use it for data, just prevention, predictions. We've got all that data out there, but often, especially our public health offices, are not as knowledgeable to be able to understand it. So AI is reshaping how we do different things. And this is the same in public health. First is access. We have more access to more health information now than we ever did in the past. But the problem is we often need to be able to understand it because of the fact that, sometimes it's even if it is in English, it's in a language that we can't understand. And, and I'll talk even about some of the things that we've been looking at to even help with the understanding. And then we need to be able to use those tools that are out there now. And they're just, totally amazing and fantastic to me. So this week, when I was asked to do the presentation a while back, but when I started actually focusing on it this week, I was like, geez, let's talk about that dashboard. I went into Copilot and I went into Claude and I started saying, the Department of Health at Hayes County was wanting to create a dashboard with different things. Some of the things they had highlighted was the number of the measles outbreak. Now that wasn't now, it was about 6 months ago. Right now they have a new rabies case. So, so I was thinking, well, right now rabies would be up there too on their list of things. And then they've also talked about COVID still, even though we don't hear about COVID, it's still happening in our communities. And so I just told Claude and Copilot create a dashboard that includes all of this. And as far as I know, this is pretty accurate, which is amazing because I had no data. I didn't give it any data. And I know, or at least at the time I was working, there were 3 measles cases. I haven't ever heard that they have gone up. COVID cases, I have no idea if these are accurate, but the ones that I have here, but I have a feeling they are, And then the last thing that they had talked about was that they're also monitoring drug use within their community, the community here. And so I just told it that, and it came up with numbers again. How accurate they are, I don't know, but I thought this is a cool dashboard. And they look pretty accurate based on what we had been talking about. So, and it even says that the opioid drug reports have increased by 12% this month. So that would be in the month of February, if this is, if they actually got to the data. So think about how much they can do by having this access, and using the tools that are out there, and stuff. So, so when we're thinking about this, we have to think about where are our data sources. Like I said, I didn't share a source with it. I just said Hays County. I didn't write any code. I didn't do anything, and it created that dashboard, which I think is pretty accurate. I should go back out today, later today, and put in, what about rabies? Can you add rabies to this and see if it picks up that one case? And so first of all, we have to figure out what are our data sources, where are they? But sometimes we don't. Sometimes it can go out and find them. It can work with us so much. I mean, every once in a while I'll ask, in fact, I need some stats for a grant I'm submitting today, and later I might ask it, can you find these stats for me? I can't find them, and see what it comes up with. And if they're close enough, I don't think anybody else can be able to correct them. Community health indicators, and what's needed in our community. Where are we going to find those? Service utilization, and then even environmental and spatial data. So then we would use AI processing. The first thing we need to do is to cleanse that data, make sure that we don't have data coming in, introduce data that's going to give us false numbers and things. And then we want to look at pattern detection. Can we glean something from this data? And then we need to extrapolate it. What are the trends? What do we need to look at and identify any anomalies? Once we do that, we can have it to the dashboard output. Now, like I said, if I had thought about it earlier when I asked it, I would have added that rabies case, because I would have known it would have then looked for it, because I know about one, maybe there are two now, because my mom said there are also cases in New Braunfels, which is Comal County. So, I said, yeah, that's a little bit of a concern when we're finding them in both. I know the one here was a stray animal, so they were thinking that it hadn't gotten the shot when it should have or something. But, think about how this will help us create actions, what we need to do based on the data we have. Do we need to allocate more resources in a certain area? What is the community risk? And how do we communicate well with our communities so that everyone has that information? So then we think about, when we're thinking about this, we might also want to think of another place that I've been looking at recently is dementia. The state of Texas has just been approved by the voters to have $3 billion worth of grant money for the next, I don't remember how many years, I think it might be 10 years. And because it's $300,000 a year. And they're looking for people to make proposals so that we can reduce, because we have over 450,000 individuals in the state of Texas with dementia, and they realize this is like cancer was, and we already have the cancer initiative from them, and we're seeing improvement from that. So some of the things we can do is look at geographic mapping. One of the studies that I've been following is the one about how tooth decay or bad teeth, dental care has been shown to people get dementia that have bad dental care. And so, maybe geographically mapping and look at how many of those cases are rural, how much dental care is out in those rural communities. Do the communities that have higher levels of dementia have lower numbers of individuals getting dental care? We can also look at social and digital determinants of health. That digital is again about accessing those digital tools. What are the barriers to that? We can also talk about communication and trust, and then also AI supported navigation. If I am an older person and I need to get in touch with or look at my patient portal record, I might not have a smartphone, but what if we went backwards with those individuals? What if they could call in using their phone, and the system could help them navigate a patient portal. And yes, it would be voice. And I know chatbots are not real popular, not with me even right now, because often you get in some horrible loop and you can't get out of it. But what if we could actually give them a way to press a 1 to hear this from this note from the doctor, or a 2 to do this next thing? And so as we're moving forward, sometimes we need to think a little bit backwards to see how we can address some of the things that our community needs. And that is basically public health, being able to address some of that. I've already talked about the dashboard. The slide got out of order right here, but I did want to point out the monitoring the community health trends in real, what this allows us to do it in real time. And I think some of what it got was from newspaper articles, or maybe it was on the Hays County website. I didn't go out and cross-check it and stuff. So digital health literacy and access is another big issue with a lot of challenges for us. If I can get access to my patient portal, get information about my health, but if I don't understand the terms they're using out there, and or anything else, then I'm going to have a lot of issues addressing those issues. And basically 1 in 3 adults have a low health literacy rate, so that they can actually be told something but not understand it. And we've got to also figure out how to work on that. Now if I'm reading my chart, I'm going out to Google and Googling the terms. What does this mean? But in the future, can we do something where we realize this person is stopping? They must, are they searching? Should we be translating this from doctorese to patientese? And, so are we talking in a language that the patient understands? And that might mean translating what was said by that doctor. Digital literacy is another access barrier. So I can access my records. I've got some usually good digital literacy. I can do a lot of different things, but then, like I said, my mother cannot. So, and I don't know if we can train that older generation, like I said, to access computers. It might be that we change our way of thinking and use systems that they could work with. About 10 years ago, I watched somebody present a system and it was sort of like a Google Home, and the patient and the system were communicating together, and they would tell the patient, I think you need to go out and walk. What if, we felt comfortable enough, we had enough security in place that we felt okay tying that system to their health record, so that system could talk with them. So they're talking back and forth. They're not even having to pick up their phone and dial. They're just telling their own system in their house to help them. And then we have other barriers, including device cost, broadband gaps. I have high-speed internet at my house, but in some areas of rural Texas, that's almost impossible. And so they're not going to be able to use any device to be able to get in and get that information. We have language barriers. Some of our population has disabilities. And then we have a lot of individuals that have that low confidence in using technology at all, and stuff. So and I, like I said, think AI has a role to play in that as well, in all of those areas. And it's just going to take an army of us to get all of that out there. And I'm doing another study right now. We were going to do a systematic review, and we went and downloaded all the records that had any way to call a patient portal. And it was 70,000 records. And so we're looking at it, we're going, there's no way for us to go through and search this data set. So we downloaded all of them, because I said, I don't think we want to limit our search at the beginning. So we downloaded all of them. One of my colleagues developed a natural language processing system that it went out and read the keywords, the titles, and would say, you want this article, you don't want this article. And we narrowed it down to about 9,000 articles. And then we used Python to actually go through every abstract and to code what those articles were talking about. So we were able to say, here are the most popular themes. We eliminated other systematic reviews. We eliminated a lot of other items, but but AI is there, and we've got to use it as a tool so that we're not working harder, we're working smarter. And you've all heard that before, but there's just so much we can do when we use it. And let those tools work for you when you need them to. So there's other platforms you can use AI, including curriculum integration. I'm working on a couple of grants. We finished one of them, and a second one we're looking at integrating AI into technology adjacent fields. And we've been creating modules that can go right into a Canvas class so a faculty member that doesn't know AI, doesn't feel comfortable with it, can integrate them in. It's self-graded and everything else, so that person can learn with the students that first couple of years. And by the third year, I'm hoping they're going out and augmenting what they have in that class. Student research. We've got graduate students, doctorate students, and using them on our projects. And not only supports us, but it also supports them and gives them a little bit broader knowledge. We also have a lot of hands-on AI, we need to be working on, because we need to be preparing those students to have that hands-on AI tool experience before they go out into the workforce, because we are hearing that most of those students need to be able to do that. So some of our current challenges in healthcare right now include things like duplicate patient records across EHR systems. And not only that, we don't have a common identifier for our patients. How do we match a patient? So I go to this facility, this hospital, then how do we match those two records so that we have interoperability and this physician knows what this other physician diagnosed? And I have an example of that from a million years ago. My father-in-law had diabetes. He was having a heart attack. My mother-in-law was on the way to the hospital, and she told me, call the ER and tell them you have a patient coming in, and we need them to know that he's diabetic, because the medicine is different if you're treating a diabetic patient. And through the night, he was getting worse. And finally, she asked him, because she even knew, she said, we're going to be stressed when we get there. And, we're not going to remember to tell them. She already knew that. She knew it when she thought about it, but she knew later she wouldn't remember it. And so that interoperability is so important for the doctor to know everything about this patient versus just what they see with that patient. And, so he could have died just because they were treating him with the wrong drugs and stuff. So we have other issues when we're talking about a lot of this, including this matching and interoperability. One is the format of the data and the data standards. But I keep thinking that in the future, AI will solve that problem. And we'll give it information, and it might be in one format, or it might be the wrong field size or something, but it'll be able to make it right. It'll be able to fix all of that stuff. And we won't have as many issues with sharing data as we do right now. And then we also have, matching errors, and which cause patient risk. I can remember 10, 20 years ago, even talking to my students about what if somebody else comes, and I was talking about identity theft at that point for healthcare. What if somebody comes in and actually has something done to them on my healthcare, and it goes on my healthcare record? And then later I present myself and I'm having trouble, and they go, you don't have any issue with your appendix. We took it out last year. They don't go look at the scar. They're looking at the medical record. And so they're looking for other things while I'm getting more and more poison dumped in my body, because it's bursted or something. So we've got to be able to figure out ways to resolve that too. But that's yes, security. But at the same time, is there a way for the system to be able to do that? And I don't know how. That one I don't know how it would. Maybe it does a full body scan or something, as we're walking into the ER, or the system they do, and then it is able to interpret all of that or something. And then we have a lot of siloed systems out there that are still not communicating with other systems. So future directions, things like submitting grants. There are so many opportunities to do research, but we're also challenged by some of these require funding. They require a lot of money to get certain data sets to be able to do analysis. And yes, there are free data sets that are out there, but some of those free data sets don't work very well. I see that we're almost out of time, and I know there were several questions on the chat, so I'm going to pause and I am going to let those questions be asked of me and Divya. So sorry about that. I thought I'd talk quick.
Thank you, Barbara. This was great. So let me ask a question, and maybe you can offer your perspective. You just mentioned, for instance, your basic process of generating a dashboard using the Copilot, and you also mentioned that you weren't 100% sure about the basic data quality. So when it comes to healthcare, there is that responsible piece that becomes important, right? Because consequences are high. So what is your perspective on that? Is it more, there should be always guardrails employed whenever we utilize these models, or what's your experience?
Yes, well, in the near future, I would hope we'd share the data. If I created a data set for Hayes County, I would expect them to share the data with me in the near future. But what's cool about it is that I shared some data with AI the other day, and it created a table summary of that data.
Right.
So even if they have ugly data, often you can use it. And but otherwise there needs to be guardrails on. I would not publish that dashboard anywhere without sending it to them and asking, is this correct?
And I guess also that transparency, right? Sometimes it being a black box, you don't know what model or what data sources it reaches out. So I guess some of the more specific customized approaches might be necessary. Especially in using AI.
I see eventually I think more people will put data out there because they're like, somebody's going to figure out something from this.
Right.
And, our AI itself, I think one day will come knocking on our doors and tell us, hey, look at this a different way, or put your funding in this instead of what you are. So.
Well, potential is immense, obviously, but consequences are high. That's why I guess when it comes to healthcare, because even with the digitization, right, some of the outcomes that we thought that would already have happened hasn't happened yet, either because of readiness or data quality issues. So I think it has been going slower in terms of transformation than most of us have imagined.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge because even though with some of the programs that have passed and we're going more digital, I mean, you think about it, 10 years ago, only about 10 to 20% of facilities had EHRs, and it has grown tremendously since that time. But then if we're looking at saying something, we've got to have access to that data.
Yeah, thank you, Divya. Thank you, Barbara, for your time. I think this was great.